Episode number 332, Crafting Videos Using Stock with Nic McElveen. Let's do it.
This is the definitive podcast for helping you plan, create, and execute dynamic worship experiences at your church. Useful, practical content in the areas of production, worship, communications, first impressions, and more. This is Making Sunday Happen.
Well, hey guys, hope you are having a great new year so far. Before we get rolling this week, I want to let you know about our title graphics in our ready-made media library at 1230 Media. We are producing pre-made graphics that you can use as announcement graphics, event graphics, and even sermon series templates at your church. Our announcement and event graphics help you promote your activities like Invite Sunday, volunteer opportunities, small groups, missions, and more. We also have sermon series templates. Now, these are graphics from our series boxes and graphics that we've produced as standalone graphics that you can take and use for your next sermon series. And with both the event graphics and the sermon series templates, we provide Photoshop source files for you to take and edit however you need for your context. So if you want to change the name of your series or something else, like resize your image to other images like social graphics and things like that, you can do that. And you can find all title graphics from our library at 1230.media. That's 1230.media. Then just click on the Ready-Made tab and you'll see them right from there. Just click on title graphics. So 1230.media, then click on the Ready-Made tab. All right, on today's episode of the show, I will welcome Nic McElveen. Nic is the product owner of video and sound effects at Soundstripe. And I know a lot of you guys at churches use Soundstripe. We use Soundstripe for music for our ready-made and custom media. A lot of our videos, we use Soundstripe as the music track under those videos, and a lot of you guys in ministry use them too. They're very affordable for ministry, so I would highly encourage you to check them out, soundstripe.com. Well, I talked to Nic about how to create video and other media projects using stock video, music, and sound effects. And Nic has a background in ministry and is really able to speak to how to use stock elements and how it can help you, how stock elements can help you make Sunday happen. So let's dive right into my conversation with Nic. Here we go. Hey guys, today I welcome Nic McElveen. Nic is the product owner of video and sound effects at Soundstripe. Nic, welcome, man. Thanks for hanging out.
Hey. Yeah. Hey, Carl, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Let's start with this. Let's start by telling us a little bit about what you do at Soundstripe. We've interacted and partnered with you guys over the years with music for our ready-made and custom content. And then you guys have really made a big presence in the ministry space. Give us a little bit about Soundstripe and what you do over there.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm essentially the value driver for our video and sound effects offerings, serve as an advocate for the improvement and development of the value that we serve to our customers through the video and the sound effects, just helping, sustain customer growth and satisfaction, curating and packaging and presenting that catalog and selecting the content for the library, putting together the playlists, collecting the user data and trends to help manage the content requests, for our partners to refine and grow that catalog to fit our customers' needs and their demands too. So
that's awesome. And you have a ministry background as well. Give us a little bit about your ministry experience.
Yeah, sure thing. So I served in full-time vocational ministry in different size organizations for about 12 years in a couple of different roles. Like I was a worship pastor, creative director, family pastor, and coming from vocational ministry, especially in those smaller churches, you had to be a jack of all trades. And so I acquired really many different hard set skills like videography and coding and website building and graphic design and audio engineering, and you just name it, the list just goes on and on. And so with those things too, kind of beyond the hard skills, you develop some of those much needed soft skills like, creative problem solving and delegation and planning. And for me personally, I think those hard and soft skills translate really wonderfully. And so my current role at Soundstripe, where I'm given plenty of opportunities to practice all of those on a daily basis.
So tell us kind of how you guys work with, I know how we work with you guys, but tell us kind of how you work with churches and ministries.
Yeah, sure thing. Okay. Yeah. So we see churches and nonprofits use Soundstripes music to, I guess, like inject that perfect amount of emotion and energy into any project, like their baptism testimonials, their pre-service roles, their creative shorts, and their content for social media. So for example, we have a playlist in our Soundstripe music catalog called House of Worship. It's a collection of tracks that's most often used by a church video production and the communication teams. And that's a really great place to start if you need some kind of royalty-free music for a current project. And we also see church tech and production teams are enhancing their video and their audio projects using sound effects to help viewers to kind of buy into what they're watching or listening to. And most recently now with stock video, we're seeing churches use it in a wide variety of ways, from, grabbing that last minute shot for B-roll footage to using only stock footage to build some type of sermon bumper.
Right. And you guys just launched footage recently, right?
Yeah, we launched about a year ago, almost actually to date. Mm-hmm. So that's been a really fun ride.
Well, I wanted to have you on to chat about what you guys do and also creating video content for churches. So tell me, I know that you really have a passion for this. So tell me kind of your passion for video, for sound design, and how that all works together.
Yeah, so for me, this started with the very first fan-made music video that I created at 13 to Fall Out Boy's Sugar We're Going Down. Like I drafted my storyboard, I shot the scenes, I edited the video, and after I completed the project, I was super proud of it, showed it to all my friends. Now, keep in mind, this was before the internet took off, so I was burning physical copies of it from my computer on a disc to pass around at school. It was cheesy. It was shot on a terrible camera. I knew nothing about film or editing, but when I saw what could happen when you combined storytelling with music and video, I knew that I not only had a passion for creating, but I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing it in some way. And as I learned more about the psychology of music and pairing it with sound design and video, I realized how powerful that can be. And, it can create atmosphere, portray emotions, provide narrative guidance, and bind not just scenes together, but feelings and characters and emotions. And for, just like for an example, John Williams, he does this really brilliantly in Star Wars. Like he uses one of the musical themes of the movie to express Luke Skywalker's awakening as a Jedi. And then throughout the original movies, whenever Luke makes that new internal discovery or overcomes some obstacle on his path to discovering the Force, you're going to hear that melody over and over again. So I'm passionate about high quality video and sound design because I just know and I've experienced just what it can bring to the table.
So recently I was at a thing called the Fatherhood Commission, which was created by one of the Kendrick brothers from their movies, both of them, but mainly Stephen Kendrick. And we watched a screening of their next movie that's coming out. It'll be probably a year before it comes out. But it was like the very first cut of the movie. And he was a small group of people, and he was like, okay, tear it apart. Tell me, I'm over there cringing. He said this, I'm over there cringing. And I was chatting with him later, and that was the main thing that we talked about, is that the none of the score had been done, no sound effects, no music, no nothing. And it really, in the first cut, it's a whole different movie than what people will see in theaters, and how music drives the emotion and tells you what you're supposed to be feeling. Sound effects help with humor, or little, music notes here and there help the humor hit, things like that. And so I'm glad that you mentioned Star Wars too, because I have a great appreciation for sound design, and I'm not a musician myself. So I have a great appreciation for all that coming together. So tell me about that, and maybe how you got into making more video content and using sound design and video?
Yeah. So again, in ministry, just being in those smaller church environments, having to learn all those things on the fly, that was one of the things that I wanted to do. I'm a 3 on the Enneagram, so I want to be the best at what I do always. And so I tried to learn as much as I could, watch as many YouTube videos as I could find about shots and setting those up and what makes good sound design. So just learning on my own, figuring things out, and being able to be in an environment like a smaller church where I could test those skills, and people wouldn't think too much about it, because anything I put out there, like, thank you so much for doing that. So it was just a really cool opportunity to be able to do that as well.
So let's get into what it takes to produce a bumper or trailer or other video content. I think people can sometimes assume that it's faster than, it takes a less amount of time than it actually does. But I'll ask it this way. Should I shoot my own footage? Should I write my own music? Should I use all stock elements? Where do you and when do you fall on that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think a major benefit of stock media in general is that it can make your life easier. And that has a direct impact on your video production quality, no matter if it's a job for your church or a personal passion project. And again, if you were like myself working in a smaller church, you probably didn't have an unlimited budget to buy any piece of gear for any specific shot that you needed. Right. And you didn't have unlimited time to get all those shots either. So that means that you need to get as much as you can out of the gear and the tools that are available to you. And stock media, it really meets that need in a really big way. So, for example, a stock video subscription gives you a place to find that footage you want without buying or renting new gear for every single shoot. Again, like we mentioned before, you could stitch together an entire short film using nothing but really high quality stock footage, and you can use it as B-roll to supplement your footage. So yeah, I guess it really just depends as far as when you should create your own content or use stock media. Do you have the time and resources to shoot your own footage, or a person or a team to write the score? And if you do, right, I say go for it. Be creative, set the time aside, make it happen. However, don't be afraid to use stock media, right, to enhance or complete your project, even if you have the budget to create your content, because we see users every single day download sound effects to finish up their sermon bumpers, or they'll grab a music track to improve their project, or download, again, that last minute B-roll footage shot of a person walking down the street towards the sunset to symbolize some type of freedom or peace. So again, really just depends, but I say don't be afraid to use stock media. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that if you have it, and if you have the team that can do it, go do as much as you can. But use stock to either supplement, or if you don't have time, use it for the whole thing. All right, let's talk more about Soundstripe's approach to stock video. Tell me, what you guys use a contract team that goes out and shoots stuff and then brings it back, and you organize that into collections on the site, things like that. Tell me how the whole process works. Yeah, sure. So one of our core values at Soundstripe is quality over quantity. And so we take that mindset and we run it through everything that we do. So as far as the process goes, we have a partner, a video partner who has a collection of artists that we get to build relationships with. And so our team will hand curate and look through hundreds of thousands of videos each quarter. And we only handpick the what we feel like is higher quality content, so that what we deliver to our users and our customers is not something that they have to sit there and filter through and filter through the lower quality stuff. So again, we just feel like we've worked hard to position not only the quality of our content, but also the smart and fast filtering and search features as well. So for video, we've built that same high quality user experience to help people find the video they need as quickly as possible.
So tell me about those search features. How have you guys really fine-tuned that process to make it easier for me?
Yeah, so we spent time organizing the video content in easy find sections, and you can start out by utilizing that video search and filter page. We have some unique filter options to help you find the best technical or artistic or themed video match. So like you can filter your results down by theme. Maybe like abstract or business or corporate, frame rate. And that's a big one as well. Resolution up. We have resolutions up to 8K, and you can, filter those down to 720. There's very few 720. Not many people are using 720 anymore, but we have a few of those. Shot detail, how many people are actually in that scene, and the duration of the clip as well. And you can also search for a video by keyword, subject matter, description, using, just natural language processing. So like you would just be thinking, I want to find a video clip of a person walking down the road. You could type in person walking down the road, and our search results will generate that for you. And again, they're highly curated by our staff to ensure that people are getting the best match for those search terms.
Are there any searching tips or hacks that you have?
Yeah, I would say, I'm a big proponent of when I am, trying to come up with an idea for a project. I like looking at other people's inspiration. And so if you need some of that inspiration, you can browse from a creator's perspective, by looking at our playlist page. We've got about 50 or so video playlists for our members. And they highlight just anything from shot type to current events, popular topics, project and industry use cases that our customers have said that they needed the most for video. So if you need aerial, people, lifestyle, whatever it may be, we've got that assortment of curated playlists for you to simplify your search and hopefully find something to get you inspired for your project.
What about sound effects? Tell me how sound effects really can take your project to the next level. And I have opinions here.
Yeah, totally. I understand. I think sound effects are a very key piece of successful sound design. And sound design plays a major role in how the best filmmakers draw audiences into a story. And one of the biggest challenges of creating artists is convincing audiences to buy into something that isn't real. Like storytelling is really just a highly respectable form of lying. And the best filmmakers are experts in doing this. And so the small, subtle additions of certain effects can help paint a picture that our brain can make sense of. Like our eyes see our favorite actors in costumes on a set, but the sound effects convince us that we're seeing something real play out, captured, or recreated. And something that's kind of odd is that popular sound effects can become so widely recognized that they change our perception of realistic certain sounds. Like swords don't make that shing noise when they leave their holder. And most gunfire sounds like a popping sound than an explosive bang. But because movie and TV viewers came to recognize those sounds portrayal on screen, we feel like videos that don't use those sound effects, they're missing something. So the dramatized version has become our reality. And now those sounds are staples in any creative work.
Yeah, I agree. And I would challenge people to watch their next favorite TV show and listen for sound effects. Even, going into a commercial or coming back out of a commercial, or, CSI famously would do this all the time, just a, just some type of get you out into the commercial, or, Folly is really popular too, but, things like that. But how are there other ideas here for how great video producers, how can I go from being a so-so video producer to a great video producer by using sound effects? Do you have any tips to get me there?
Yeah, I would say, let me see where to start here. I would say using sound effects. I know for me personally, some of my favorite ways to do that are using sound effects to help establish emotion or set a scene. Sounds are an important sensory input, and they play a big role in the overall magic of film and visual storytelling. So because of that, sound effects are the trick to helping viewers again connect what their eyes see to what their brains expect to see. So in other words, like we're talking about that lie, it makes the lie even more believable because the audience is feeling what they would feel if the on-screen action was real. And so a common mistake that I feel like beginner filmmakers is that they do is they front load a video with exposition. And it doesn't matter what you're making. It could be an indie film, a documentary, a marketing ad, travel vlog. If you start with this big info dump to set the stage, you're just going to drive viewers off. And so sound effects, they can give you a shortcut. They're a way to establish a setting or a mood without using dialogue, and sometimes without even music. If you're in a busy city, you can hear those distant car horns or muffled voices from the upstairs apartment, and they can tell an audience like where they actually are.
I think it's important too to realize like you as a video producer can implement this. Like this isn't just a Hollywood thing. Like right. if I'm working on a motion graphics piece that's text only, let's just say, or very, very little footage, to add little, if the text moves away, animates in a certain way, to put a small whoosh sound effect when the text moves, like little stuff like that, I feel adds depth and thickness to the video that really takes it to the next level. Absolutely. And so I think that, it's doable with the tools that we have available. And I think that you guys do a great job of providing that for anybody. This is not just a big Hollywood thing. Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, you have the tools to be able to do that and the resources to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like you're talking about, creating that art is all about detail, right? It's the little things are what separate, great filmmakers from everybody else. And like you're saying, sound effects really help play a role in that. And if you take the time and think through it, thoughtful sound design really ups that in a big way. And suddenly it's the audio elements that are establishing the setting, creating emotion and adding a realism, which means, like you're saying, those visuals don't really have to. And if each component has a job, they'll become more effective whenever they work together. Right.
I would say be careful too, to not let your sound, make sure that your mix is done well. Like don't let your sound effects overpower. That would be jarring. So make sure that it's all kind of mixed in together. All right, let's talk about stock music and sound design. This is what you guys are really known for, is the music library. So maybe it's the same thing, but give me some search tips for finding music tracks on Soundstripe.
Yeah, so music tracks, I was a longtime user of Soundstripe before I started working here, when I worked in the ministry. And so again, we have it kind of set up in the same fashion. You can search, by keywords and things like that, but you can also use the filter side of the music as well. So you can search by mood, BPMs, duration. You can even search by key, and that was one of the huge things for me as a worship pastor when I was trying to create a video that maybe I would use like right before a service, and it would be in the same key as the first song that we're about to go in. So I love that feature of it, trying to find a song by key, mood, feel, and all of that as well. And then we also have really highly curated playlists that our users can get their hands on. Again, you can use those in a variety of ways, but we just really pride ourselves on having that high quality music, high quality search and filter and curation.
So we talked about mix a little bit. Do you have any mixing tips to bring it all together? Footage, music, sound effects?
I think, creating a video is about layering those pieces together. And again, I think once you understand what sound design does, you'll see just how big of an impact all of those pieces can make on your filmmaking process. And I think focusing in on those small things in a scene, the score, the shot type, and the sound effects help bring your vision to life in ways other editing tricks just can't sometimes. And I think you can start doing that right now. Like you can go out and just start gathering recordings, right? You could set up a little studio in your basement. You can purchase a really great sound effects library or have a subscription. But whatever you decide to do, it's important to treat all of those elements like any other component in your video creation process, especially sound effects. And I think if you do that, you'll start seeing people engage with your content and your videos at a new and a deep level.
let's talk about licensing. I know that there's a lot of questions here about, okay, can I use it online? If I pull video or music or sound effects, can I use it everywhere? Where am I limited? Give me a handle on licensing for churches and ministries.
Yeah, sure thing. So for Soundstripe, we actually recently updated our licensing terms of use to include what we call subscription as a license. So this essentially means your active subscription to Soundstripe is your license for any of the media. So now each download can be used in unlimited times in unlimited number of projects while you have an active subscription. So if you create a project while you're subscribed, and even if you cancel later, that coverage lasts forever. So the big change from before is you can download songs, sound effects, and videos directly and freely use a single download in as many projects as you need to without having to like relicense or download again while you're subscribed. So the biggest thing is if you cancel your subscription or there's a lapse in payment, you're no longer allowed to use a previously downloaded file in a new project, but you can just renew or resubscribe, and you're good to download and use unlimited times in the projects during your subscription period.
I think that you guys have really made it very easy for churches and ministries. And so I really applaud you for that, because the licensing can be super confusing. And I think sometimes people could do more research and be in the know. I think sometimes they just don't know what they don't know, which is not an excuse. Right. They need to make sure that they're covered. However, I think that you guys have made it really easy to make sure that a church is legal. Any restrictions to, I'm going to put this on my live stream versus physical, any restrictions like that on your library?
Yeah. So one of the other big things that people run into in using stock media, no matter where, is content claims, right? Content claims, they're a necessary evil because they help protect artists and creators from posters that are using content without proper licensing or ownership. And recent changes to international law have shifted the responsibility, like we're talking about, to identify copyrighted material from the creator, which would be you, to social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook. But for us, the Soundstripe subscription gives you all the rights you need to use the music, the videos, and the sound effects on any social media platform. But we still get customers saying, hey, I still got a content claim. But one of the easiest ways to make sure that your content claims are cleared automatically, if you are a Soundstripe user, is to list your personal YouTube channel on your Soundstripe account. But if you're creating videos for clients or you purchased a single song, you can utilize what we call single use codes. And for each song that you use in a video, you just generate a one-time use YouTube code, copy and paste it into the description when you upload it to YouTube, and it should be good to go. But let's say, for instance, you or your client forgot to include a code, or you uploaded a video before you listed the channel and you got a content claim. We just released something in the past couple of months. You can now clear individual YouTube videos from content claims with any music plan just by using the URL. So we have a little tool that we built into our platform. You just put in the URL and it will go to work for you, and that is it. So again, we just pride ourselves for having unparalleled content claim clearance to just do what we love to do, and that's keep creators creating.
Good. One thing, another thing I love about you guys is that you're affordable. Especially for churches. And I think that you've seen great success there because you are affordable for church. So I'll just ask the question straight out. How are you guys making it so affordable?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Our mission again at Soundstripe is, and I think it's important to know this, is to keep creators creating. And that's something that we keep in the front of our minds when we're making financial decisions as well, in terms of how to price things properly. And, because what good is our product if it's amazing, but it costs so much money and nobody can use it? Like, it's pointless for that. So to help keep the production costs down, we are a royalty-free stock media subscription service, as opposed to going to somewhere like Envato, where like you have to needle buy drop songs.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So meaning that all you need is a subscription, and you'll have unlimited access to our entire library of songs and videos and sound effects, which is, everything you could need for most of your projects.
What about oversaturation? Because you guys have made a really good dent in this market, do you worry that so many people are going to, I mean, from a subscription standpoint, I'm sure you're not worried because it's great income for you that you can do more ministry with and create more content for. But are you concerned that so many content creators are using the same tracks and so it's kind of oversaturated across the board?
For me, when I'll just give you an example. Like when I was learning how to sing and play guitar, I found artists that I loved and I learned their songs. I mimicked their styles. And I did that until I grew as an artist and kind of found my own voice and find my own style. And the same was true when I was learning how to shoot and produce and edit videos. I would find master classes, learn, implement what I learned in my next project, test it out, try it out, tweak it, and find my own style. And I think this is true of big Hollywood storytelling as well. Like romantic comedies, they really all have the same overarching storylines. Ads try to sell stories to sell an experience, not their product per se. And there's a guy named Donald Miller. He has a book, Story Brand. He exposes this idea really well. He says a character has a problem. He meets a guide who gives them a plan and calls them to action that ends in success and helps them avoid failure. So again, take Star Wars, like we talked about. The protagonist, Luke Skywalker, is at war with the Galactic Empire led by Darth Vader. And in his quest to overcome the Empire, he receives training and guidance from Obi-Wan and Yoda. And they train him as a Jedi Knight to trust in the Force, to do battle with, the bad guys. And with his training and guidance,
and then he becomes a hermit on a mountain somewhere. And,
yes.
But that's a different story. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. And you ruin a franchise. It's terrible. And then, so I think art will always have an element of just an admirable repetition. However, if you take 3 different creators, you give them the same video clips and tell them to create a short film or an ad, you're going to end up with different results. Now, the fundamentals of video creation are going to be there, but their end result are going to be shaped by their experience, their feeling, their style. And Star Wars would have looked totally different if Martin Scorsese or James Cameron or John Hughes had their hands on it. So even with the same tracks and videos and sound effects, I just trust that filmmakers will create their interpretation of art and deliver fresh perspectives.
I think that's a very good way to put that because, like we were talking earlier, that music drives the emotion. There's different visuals on the screen. So even if the same music track is the same, or multiple users are using the same footage or sound effects, it's packaged in a different way that makes you feel a different emotion and get a different story and a different result. So that's a great way to put that.
Yeah.
All right. As we close today, talk to me about how I can use Soundstripe at my church. How can I connect with you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, man, we have everything that you could possibly need for any project. Thousands of music tracks. I think we're around 70,000 sound effects, over 100,000 videos now. You can use them for, again, we see churches use them for sermon trailers, announcement videos, storytelling, live streaming, social media. Again, we have a wide variety of genres. Selection is continually growing. And most creators that I run into appreciate that they can find songs based on the mood and the pace and the length and the beats and the key. You can also create your own custom playlist for your favorite songs. And then as you're having your live stream, you can download those songs and they're licensed and they're good. You can use it for your live stream. You can also listen to your playlist as you write your script or watch the first takes and start the film editing process. So if you guys want to get in contact with us, you visit our website at soundstripe.com. And yeah, we just love for you guys to check us out.
Yeah. Well, Nic, thank you so much for this, man. I know that, I'm glad that we, I wanted to talk about Soundstripe and what you guys do, but I'm glad that we dove into some really practical content that people can use as well. So, man, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it today.
Yeah, Carl, I really enjoyed being on today.
What is worship? What do we mean when we talk about the worship of God? Well, I'm an Australian bass player, so it's got to be simple. I found this really helpful. I think of the worship of God as simply to show the worth of God. In fact, just 300 years ago in the English language, that's how the word worship was said, worthship, and it was only ever a verb. Terms like worship band, worship leader, worship song, worship experience, worship Spotify playlist, excuse the rabbit ear fingers, are not found in the Bible. I believe the word worship is actually quite ineffective as an adjective. Now, if we want to swim more deeply into the mystery of what it means to worship God, then I think we need to realize that to worship God is to ascribe value to God, to show his worth. And I'm reminded of this passage from the Bible. Romans 12:1 tells us, "Therefore, brothers and sisters, in view of God's great mercy, offer yourselves as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, and let that be your spiritual act of worship." My name's Grant Norsworthy from morethanmusicmentor.com. I provide online and on-site training for the heart and the art of worshiping musicians. Find out more at morethanmusicmentor.com.
The show notes for this episode are available now at makingsundayhappen.com.
Well, hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out this week. Next week on the podcast, I'm going to welcome the CEO and founder of the Vanderbloemen Search Group. William Vanderbloemen will be joining me. We'll be talking through staffing trends, staff culture, and also succession planning. William is the best in the business on this stuff. You're going to be hearing from a powerhouse in our field on the podcast next week. Well, thanks so much for listening or watching the podcast this week. Go out there and create some incredible worship experiences this weekend. I'll catch you next week.
Making Sunday Happen is a production of the ministry of 1230 Media. For show notes, archive episodes, and more free resources for your church, visit makingsundayhappen.com.